Oh, joining me here in the studio is Philip Turle, our International Affairs Editor. Philip, let's start with that breaking news about Russia expelling the Swedish, German and Polish diplomats from attending protests in support of Alexei Navalny. That's a rather dramatic move, isn't it?
It is a dramatic move, and I think it shows that despite what the Russians are trying to portray, as in the fact that no, Alexei Navalny does not pose any threat to Vladimir Putin. Remember that Vladimir Putin won't even mention his name, as though he doesn't even know who he is when he's asked to refer to Alexei Navalny. So there is the facade being put forward by the Russian authorities, and then the action being taken by the Russian authorities, which paints a completely different picture. And I think this is a sign of growing jitters amongst the Russian leadership over what they should do to try to snuff out the growing protest movement in Russia and to make other countries understand they should not get involved in anything to do with internal Russian politics. Now, this move here, kicking out these three diplomats from Germany, Sweden and Poland, I think coming when it does, right as this summit meeting is going on between Angela Merkel and the French President Emmanuel Macron to talk about defence in Europe, is a sign that Russia is sending them a very stern message. Also on the same day that Josep Borrell, the EU foreign policy chief, is in Moscow, having had talks there with Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. No progress going on there at all, and contradictory messages from both. I think this is a sign that Russia really wants to make it clear that the Navalny business is their business alone and other countries should not get involved in that. There's been one rapid reaction already from Sweden saying that it contradicts what the Russians are saying, that its diplomats did not take part in any pro-Navalny protests in Moscow. So we're on the edge of a situation where Vladimir Putin, I think, is beginning to feel the pressure. He's in a very complicated position because the worst case scenario for him was Alexei Navalny coming back to Russia, because he already tried to kill him off, if we can believe the reports coming through of him being poisoned. That didn't work. So now Alexei Navalny has come back to Russia. So what do the Russian authorities do? They can't try and kill him again, because if they do, they'll make him into a martyr figure. They don't want to do that. But if they don't, then they put him in jail to try to stop him from taking on a greater role as an opposition candidate in upcoming elections. But at the same time, that is stirring up unrest on the streets of Russia, not only in Moscow, but in many of the major cities and towns around the whole country. And this is something that President Putin does not want to see. President Putin does have a lot of cards in his hand, but he doesn't have all the cards he used to have. He has a lot of young people who've only known him in power. They're tired of Vladimir Putin. They want changes. The economy is in free fall. There are more people living below the poverty line. So all of these are contributing factors. And what they don't want, the Russians, is foreign countries coming in and saying, set Alexei Navalny free, because Alexei Navalny is going to put up a challenge to Vladimir Putin.
The tectonic plates have somewhat shifted, haven't they, since both Chancellor Merkel and President Macron have met the last time, because, of course, we've had a change of power in the US.
That is true as well. And I think this is something else that may contribute to what we're seeing today, because remember that when Donald Trump was in power, he more or less let Russia do what it wanted, and even backed Russia in the face of the CIA, saying probably the Russians were right and the CIA were wrong. This time round, Joe Biden has made it absolutely clear that the United States is back. The United States is not going to stand for any nonsense coming from Russia, any bid for them to try to launch cyber attacks against the United States or intervene in American elections. So that has boosted, I think, somewhat the feeling amongst the European leaders, certainly France and Germany, that the United States is now back in the game, and the United States will support Europe, which has felt rather ignored by the US over the past 4 years. And that is also not very good news for Vladimir Putin, which might also explain why we've seen these expulsions this afternoon.
Philip, thank you for that. And in his first